This bad boy started on the right foot. And I will have you know, for those of you that listened to the show yesterday, Captain America Chris Evans down the hall, LONZO, me, and Matt, the news dude, full frontal Matt, sat in the office and had Zoe, about a 20-minute conversation about the chess story. And, I told people yesterday that I thought the chess story would be a story that was discussed by those of you who heard it for years to come. And no sooner had we gotten off the air yesterday than there was a powwow, a round table of degenerates in our office having a full sail conversation about it. It was breaking new radio ground, is what it was.
I don't want to say degenerates because I was in there with a bunch of degenerates.
Fair enough. I accept that. Great to have you, folks. It is Thursday.
Because I didn't participate at all. I had
You
nothing,
did a little.
I had nothing to do with that.
You did a little. A little. It's okay. There's nothing to be ashamed of. The story's hilarious.
By the way, Cameron said that's probably one of the best stories that you've ever read on the show.
Yeah, of course it was. I said it was gonna be. I wasn't just hyping things up. That was always gonna be an all-timer. That was always going to be an all-timer. There wasn't a question about that.
All right, for the people on the stream who are wondering why Rob's sound is cutting in and out, I got nothing.
We don't know.
Everything's set up correctly.
We got nothing. So it's Thursday. You know what that means. We got National Football League. The National Football League.
Well, some people do.
I mean, we all have a game tonight.
Some people can watch it.
Yeah, it's on Amazon, so if you don't have Amazon, sucks to be you, I guess. You got Amazon? Are you in the number? Did you get it just for tonight?
I do not have Amazon, but everybody else in my family does. So technically,
so you
yes.
have Amazon.
Yes, I have Amazon.
Yeah, it's always amazing. I
got Rob to roll his eyes within 3.5 minutes.
I didn't roll my eyes.
That's
I
a
just
record.
looked at the computer.
Oh, you did. You did.
Why would I roll my eyes at you having you using your family's Amazon account?
All right, you looked up at your eyelids. I guess that's not really rolling. It doesn't matter. I'll do it again before this is over.
No, that's true. But I didn't do it because you have your family's Amazon. I
was being technical, semantic, all that kind of stuff that we love to do. So yes, I do have it. I don't know if we have the. Do the sports come with the regular package, or do you have to?
No, if you've got Prime, you have it.
Okay, all right.
And I
well, we've been watching the Rings of Power.
Yeah, then you have it.
Yeah.
Then you have it. I became very popular this week because
just now.
Just now. Predominantly last night and this morning, when I don't think people truly, as much as they hyped it, understood that matchups like tonight, which by the way should be an exceptional football game. Matchups like tonight are available only on Amazon. And now, as people are gearing up for a little Thursday night football, now that information has started to hit home with people.
I think it threw everybody off probably last week because last Thursday it was on NBC.
Yeah.
And so you're thinking, and a lot of times when these games happen, like they're also on the NFL Network.
Yeah.
And there'll be some people who tune into NFL, because I checked, because I was curious. There'll be people who tune into NFL Network tonight, and they'll get Broncos Seahawks, and some people will think it's live.
Is that what they're airing tonight in that slot?
Right in that slot, yes.
Ooh. How many people nationwide tune into that game and think they are watching the Thursday night game? Anyway, yesterday, now that it is starting to become evident to some people that this game this evening between the Chargers and the Chiefs is only available on Amazon Video, How many people have just figured that out and are like, oh, what the hell? I know at least some, because over the last day and a half, my phone has blown up. Because I've got the Amazon. Every year I pay for the Amazon Prime. Because as much as I can't stand Jeff Bezos, at the end of the day, Rob Brown has to protect the grandiose amount of money he makes doing radio, the sickening amount of money he makes doing radio, and stretch his buck out. And if I can drop $100 and whatever change in January to have my groceries delivered for the rest of the year for free, it well pays for itself before we get to March. So I drop it every year despite the fact that I can't stand Jeff Bezos.
All right. Bezos big timed you at a cocktail party, didn't he? Yeah, now we know. That's how 1%ers roll, man.
Yeah. He was like, Rob, you're rich, but you ain't me rich.
You don't do that to another rich guy.
No.
You don't.
No.
At least that's what I've heard tell. I wouldn't know myself.
I was about to punch him with my diamond-studded pinky ring. Anyway, it's common knowledge.
Here's the deal, though. If you don't have Amazon Prime, you can listen to the game right here on The Fan tonight. Live.
That is correct.
Live.
That is correct.
And by the way, it's also streaming. So, Why
did you whisper that? Is it a secret?
We have the rights because that doesn't happen very often. Gotcha. And so it's also streamed. So if you're going, but I can't get the signal. I live out in Lawrence County and on a compound. That's just an example. And I can't get the signal there. Well, you know what? You can just you pick up the Odyssey app, which is free, by the way, and you can listen to the game there.
If you're in front of a computer, you can go to thefanupstate.com. There's a big old fat play button on it. You can click that. If you go and get the Odyssey app, AUDACY, you can listen to not just this game. You can listen to all the outstanding program available right here on the Fan Upstate at your will, at your pleasure, at your leisure, including this evening's matchup. So I did realize, I did find out that this game is solely on the Zon because it is knowledge amongst my family that Rob Brown has Amazon Prime and the phone has been
So what you're saying is you're having a party tonight. Is that what you're saying? Not everybody can come, but you're having a party.
I'll be on the couch watching the game with no pants on. If you want to come by, sure.
It's a no pants party.
Not that fun kind, though. Just the regular kind. Just the regular kind where I'm on the couch eating queso, not wearing slacks. That's it. That's all.
It's a little weird.
Some of y'all will be into that. I'm not judging you.
Yeah, some people will.
Come on by. But yes, friends, this evening, right here on the Fan Upstate, you'll be able to hear Kansas City versus Los Angeles. And I am genuinely kind of excited about this game. I think this thing's got a chance to be good. Patty Mahomes looked like old school Patrick last week. Reports of Patrick Mahomes' demise have been greatly exaggerated, ladies and gentlemen. But the Chargers ain't no slouch neither. The Chargers ain't no joke, man. It's a good football team. I don't necessarily know that they are overrated. You know, I got to tell you, I never look forward to talking about whatever team is playing the Chiefs with LONZO because they're all overrated. 31 teams overrated, one team vastly underrated when they play the Chiefs.
I disagree, but all we hear is Justin Herbert. It's not Josh Allen level.
Josh Allen.
Now here's the test. Here's the test. Who we got tonight? We got Herbie.
It's
who is notorious for picking out someone. I think Kellen Mond was his guy at one point. Kellen Mond. So it wouldn't shock me if Herbie doesn't go Herbert all night tonight and forget that, in my opinion, the best quarterback in football is wearing red tonight.
The best quarterback in football. Who is with Herbie on the call tonight?
Some play-by-play guy. I don't remember.
I got to find it. I don't remember who it is. I mean, I remember who it is, but I don't remember
I think it
who
might
is.
be Al Michaels, actually. I'm not
I
positive.
think you're right. I think you're right. In fact, I know you're right. He was on Sunday before the whole thing started on the Fox pregame show.
Come on, Twitter. Stop showing that lady throwing up in the stands. Every time I refresh, there she is again.
Yeah, the big boss says it's Al Michaels.
Yeah, I was going to say to the person who's texting me, I got it before
Yeah.
you sent it. So, I mean,
all right.
it's,
Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit on the call.
We appreciate all our listeners, especially one of them.
I am, I don't know, man. I think this has got the potential to be a very good football game. I don't think that Justin Herbert is overrated. I think he's rated exactly right. I don't think anybody is yet putting him into the Pro Bowl. I don't think anybody's yet putting him as a Super Bowl favorite, but my dude did go 279 and 3 touches last week on 26 of 34 and a 129 QBR. He easily outperformed Derek Carr last week, and you're a big D Carr guy.
Hey, to the person who says that we were stumbling with that, it's a radio thing. Sometimes you stumble on purpose to get interaction on the internet and on the text line, which is exactly what we did. If you look at the text line, I'm sure, but I can see the stream and people had the answer right there. So it's a way to encourage audience participation. I'm gonna get a stopover email, aren't I?
I am not involved in that at all.
If I want to address the stammering, that's because I'm just a producer,
Executive producer, and co-host. It's on the show rundown.
All right, I'm going to stop right now. Here's the problem.
He said you're bumbling
And stammering.
You bumbling fool.
Yeah. I hate to tell you this, Rob, but he was talking about you, and because obviously I was perfectly clear in every way.
I don't bumble or stutter or stumble in any way on the air.
I think that would describe my entire radio career, and I'm okay with that because I'm still here, at least at this moment. That door could open at any second. I think that Herbert is a very good quarterback, but he's
stumbling, bumbling, and stammering too.
Yeah, I think I said that, but it's all right.
Amazing.
I think that Herbert is a really good quarterback, but until you achieve what people think you are, then you're not what people think you are. So the fact that, he's the second coming of something, I don't know. And he's going to be, not as hyped as Josh Allen, but he's right there.
Can I ask
he's
you a
right
question that is going to, I worry about asking this question because I don't want you to be offended by it.
Oh, I'm already offended. When
All
you
right,
say,
well, then fine, I can just say it.
when you say, I don't mean any offense by this, you absolutely mean offense by it.
No, I don't. I genuinely don't. But I is there some level of your grading of other quarterbacks that is impacted by your offense by the way that Patrick Mahomes was treated by the media last year? Because last year, certainly early in the season, people were throwing the dirt on top of Patrick Mahomes, right? Last year, early to midseason, people were going, he's cooked, he's washed, he's toast, he's past his prime already. Patty Mahomes can't do it. And it seems like every time we bring up young QBs on this show, you're like, nah, that guy's overrated.
All right.
That guy's overrated. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's overrated.
All right, first of all, Caleb on Twitter says Justin Herbert is the best quarterback in the league. I don't know if it's sarcasm or if he's...
Yeah, I'm not ready to go that far.
Yeah, or
you
if
know who
he's...
is? Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. Yeah, you missed Josh Allen there. So,
Josh Allen.
No, I don't have that... I do have bias. Obviously, I have bias. I'm not going to come and I can't come and say that I am your unbiased radio guy. I don't pick one side. I am the most biased person on this radio station. Well, almost. I am almost the most biased person on this radio station. If I cheered for Florida, I would be. My problem is with the media overhyping a player before they achieve something. That bothers me because, again, I think they pick the national media, pick who they're going to go after and who they're going to raise. And I don't know if there's a secret, if there's a sports Illuminati somewhere. There might have been. If there were, John Madden was probably on that. Probably some other people. Al Michaels for sure on the sports Illuminati. Probably Boomer. He doesn't need to be, but he's the loudest guy in the room. So I think they decide this is the guy we're going to praise. This is the guy we're going to hate for the entire season. And then the echo chamber that is national sports media, they pick it up and they go with it. I think that's it. But right now, here's the problem. You don't go, this guy is so good. This guy is the next it. This is guy, and then you have to diminish the guy who is it right now. And they did that a bunch last year. That did bother me because the receivers dropped a bunch of balls, especially some guy named Tyreek Hill who's no longer with the Chiefs. And we saw.
Well, it's because Patrick Mahomes is only the second most accurate quarterback in the league.
Well, yeah. And who's the most accurate?
Tua Tagovailoa.
Is he?
Obviously.
Yeah. So that means that Mahomes has something to achieve, something to strive for. It would seem to me, and maybe I'm wrong because I am biased, that someone put a chip on Patrick Mahomes' shoulder, which we saw last week. He don't usually talk stuff like he was talking last week to the camera. So all I can say is look out, league, look out, Justin Herbert, look out, Chargers tonight.
So Justin Herbert last year, right? And I just want to focus on last year. Actually, we can go either of the two years so far that he's been in the league. In year number one, Herbert threw 396 for 595, a completion percentage of a LONZO alerting 66.6% in his debut year, 4,336 yards, averaged 7.3 yards per completion, 31 touchdown, 10 picks, and a quarterback rating of 98. Last year, in 17 games, 443 for 672, a completion percentage of 65.9%, 5,014 yards, 7.5 yards per completion, 38 touchdowns, 15 picks, and a season-long quarterback rating of 97.7. There's nothing about those stats to not be impressed by. And when I say I'm not going, hey, could have had a good year. I'm not talking about, hey, he was all right. I'm talking, damn, I wish I had a quarterback with those numbers.
By the way, I agree. He's really good. He really is. But you can build one guy up and not diminish another. And some people think they have to put another guy down while they're building that guy up.
See, I don't see it that way. I think I agree with you that Patty Mahomes last year got kind of knocked around a little bit, frankly, unfairly. I think he absolutely got pushed around a little bit unfairly last year, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and diminish Herbert or, Josh Allen, because it doesn't mean that I'm taking it's a conversation we had yesterday. Picking A does not mean I'm anti-B. Complimenting, putting up A does not mean that I'm tearing down B. To say Justin Herbert is really damn good, really good, and I'm excited about watching him play tonight doesn't mean, and therefore he's going to beat out Patrick Mahomes. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just saying it's going to be a hell of a game.
You're not the people I'm talking about. You're not. You're not the people who is overhyping this guy before he's actually done anything. And yes, he's good. No. Stats are good. How many playoff games has he won?
I mean, to say he hasn't done anything.
How many playoff games has he won?
Oh, because he's the only one that has that
How many playoff games has he won?
He's the only one that has that impact.
And how many Super Bowls has he won?
And that's all that matters. Brad Johnson, Dan Marino, that's all that matters. See, that is a problem I have, and I don't necessarily. We've had this conversation. I don't know if we want to rehash it, but
we get new listeners all the time.
I really dislike judging a quarterback's value on playoff wins and Super Bowls because it effectively diminishes the importance of having a team built around you, right? Like, do you think Drew Brees is inside the greatest 5 quarterbacks to ever play the game?
I don't know about inside the 5 greatest, but he's definitely in the top 10.
Top 10.
Because of stats. I mean, look at his stats, and you know this better than anybody probably. His stats are
top 2.
They're Hall of Fame worthy.
Everything is top 2, and the only guy who's got him is Tom Brady's old ass.
So I don't know if that's a good example. I mean, you brought up a guy who's going to be in the Hall of Fame first ballot.
The point that I'm making here is dude had one, right? There are some questionable QBs that have more than one Super Bowl.
This only comes into play if you're diminishing another quarterback. I mean, any other time, for most people, championships and wins are all that matters.
I don't see it that way.
You ask all these quarterbacks what matters to you most, they're going to say wins. They're not going to say, well, I led the league in this and I did this. They're going to talk about wins. It means the most to them, so it should mean the most to us.
They are. That is correct. But we don't put out QBR, we don't put out quarterback power rankings and ask how do other quarterbacks power rank quarterbacks. It's all super simple. It really is. Justin Herbert had one of the best statistical seasons in the National Football League last year. Justin Herbert is a G, and tonight's quarterback battle is going to be spectacular.
Way to go, Justin Herbert. Did you go to the Super Bowl? Did you win the Super Bowl? And yeah, I know, neither did Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, well.
That's why.
Well, then this game's going to suck.
Absolutely.
Because neither went to the Super Bowl, and that means they're both garbage. Can't wait.
I don't understand your logic, but probably someone does.
Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. I am jacked about tonight's game. We'll talk about it. And if you don't already have Amazon Prime and you can't watch this game, 2 things. Number 1, don't text me. I'm at my login max already. And number 2, you can listen to it right here on the Fan Upstate by going to 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, or downloading the Odyssey app, AUDACY. We got the play-by-play for you tonight right here and only on the Fan Upstate.
Warehouse.
Grab Extreme, not going anywhere. Hang out.
So I don't know if you guys ever get heckled by your boss while you're at work, which was happening to me in the first segment. Which is good. It's kind of awesome, but at the same time, you know. I don't take that as pressure. I take it as a challenge. Do not say something that gets me in trouble. But that's a challenge every single day. So. And I feel bad because I feel like that is a cool boss. You're right. I feel bad because I feel like I'm, trying to make someone pay as much as I possibly can for what's about to happen tomorrow. Which I don't know if we have any update on that or not.
I thought I had one, and then they called me back and said they couldn't make it.
Well, I have backup. Lisa can do it for me before I leave tomorrow.
Somebody just texted, fan, Jesus, 160 wiped out the whole damn chicken farm. What is that about? Do you have no idea either? Okay. You were looking at me like I should know that.
No. That was me processing.
Okay.
Yes. Some days are harder than others. By the way, just a reminder to push not only that game, but also push views from Main Street, which we should be doing more than what we're doing. Harley in the next break.
And here we go. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. I want to remind you, if you haven't yet done it, if you're a fan of the Carolina Panthers or of the great LONZO Right Cell, you need to get yourself downloaded and subscribed to the Views from Mint Street podcast. We drop 3 episodes a week. It is a Carolina Panther-themed podcast. We drop one on Monday. That is a recap of the game on Sunday. We drop one on Wednesday, which is the midweek edition where we just talk about news and notes and quotes and break down press conferences, etc. And then we drop one on Fridays. The Friday pod is a preview of the upcoming week. So after the show today, Lonzo and I will record another episode of the Views from Mint Street podcast. It will be a breakdown of this Sunday's matchup when the Carolina Panthers are on the road in the Meadowlands taking on the New York Football Giants. If you are a Panthers fan, if you are an NFL fan, or if you're a fan of Lonzo, go to wherever you get your podcasts, whether it is Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, or free on the Odyssey app, and click the heart button next to the Views from Mint Street podcast. Make sure that you are subscribed to the Views from Mint Street podcast and get on board, man. Don't miss a minute of Carolina Panther talk brought to you by the great Lonzo Reitzel, and also I'm there. It's a good time to record. It's a good time had by all, and there's some pretty good football stuff in there.
Hey, the Lola Bunny challenge is trending. Should I click on that?
I don't know.
I don't know if
but knowing the internet,
I probably shouldn't.
You probably shouldn't. I don't know what it is. I am not going to look it up in my on my work computer. I don't get me wrong. I very much want to, but I'm not going to.
Well, one of them said I opened this up in the middle of church, so I'm getting out of that. I didn't see anything bad.
Probably for the best.
I didn't see anything bad, but Keegan is saying I shouldn't have. It was a hashtag, so I mean,
He just said nope.
All right, I got out of it before I saw anything that might be a problem.
Speaking of weird Twitter things, yesterday Rex Chapman, you remember Rex, the former Kentucky / NBA player? Rex had some pretty nasty off the court demons that he had to fight, and has come out the other side better for it. So Rex Chapman tweeted out a video of, I guess, at the Queen's, not funeral, but her lying in state at whatever big-ass building they put her in. There was a guard, a Queen's guard, very Game of Thrones-ish, who was watching over her casket. And because I guess Britain just refuses to get rid of medieval stuff, he's like holding this big damn spear, Lonzo. Well, he's standing there, and he just passed out and went face first down to the ground. Well, I retweeted it, and I was like, I did that once, cost me my front 2 teeth. And I put up the picture of the night that I decided to nosedive into a concrete floor and knocked off the bottom half of my front 2 teeth. I sent that back to him, and I'm like, 0 of 10, would not recommend, as a joke, with a picture of the night that my teeth got knocked out. And Rex retweeted it. And so all night, I just got up. And don't get me wrong, I appreciated it. But all night, I woke up this morning to a Twitter feed that was just full of people that were like, way to fight through it. You still look very handsome. You're so brave. And I'm like, guys, it was like a year and a half ago. I'm fine.
It's the thing I love about Twitter and hate about Twitter is I saw the picture. I mean, it's awesome that someone famous retweeted it and all that kind of stuff, and that you're getting all that reaction. I saw the picture. Is like, okay, why is he tweeting this picture again? So it's hard to go back and find why in the world the first thing that you did on Twitter.
Yeah, it was just a video of this dude. And like I said, he's got this huge spear, like this 8-foot spear with a big metal spike on the end.
Well, you can't leave your station, man. You
first.
just can't do that.
Well, my thought, and it was one of those ones that's like the spear, and it's got like the hooked blade off and it like he went down with that spear, and people were like, "Yo, that could have been dramatically worse than it was." I ate a concrete floor, but I was not carrying a 9-foot person killer with me.
If you did, you probably would have caught yourself. Maybe.
No, I don't.
No,
I
it was completely black.
Sleep.
Okay.
I do not remember it. I went to sleep. All right. Anyway, a couple of things to get into here on the radio show. Keep in mind, by the way, it is Thursday, and you know what that means. Coming up at 11:20, it's Fight Club with Lonzo. Your home for all things combat sports in the upstate, and MMA, boxing, and professional wrestling have been at a fever pitch the last couple of weeks.
Then you know what came out yesterday? Do you? The P1 Insider Top 500 Wrestlers came out yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Did they acknowledge him again?
You have to wait until 11:20 to find out.
Fair enough. Trey said, I thought you might have gotten into a fight with a 70-year-old guy at the Styx concert when I saw that pic. Can I tell you how old I felt? Listen, I know this is unsports related. Let me just say this, and we'll get out and we'll come back and we'll do some football. I went to the Styx REO Speedwagon show last night. And Loverboy. Oh, it was amazing.
Is there a way to skip the REO part?
I went entirely.
And if REO is still in town, I don't care. If there's a way to skip were they first? Who headlined?
Lonzo, I don't want you around. Loverboy opened. Surprisingly, Styx went before REO Speedwagon.
Yeah, that is a surprise. Styx a bigger and better band. REO Speedwagon is just Air Supply.
I'm assuming that they alternate who leads show by show.
Don't they like mix band members and stuff?
I got no idea. You could have put an REO Speedwagon cover band up there, and I wouldn't have been able to tell you the difference. I mean, it was great. It was great to see him.
How about Styx? If they
Styx was Styx was fantastic.
You would know Styx.
Yeah. I don't know if it was.
You're proving my point. I appreciate that.
I don't know. No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm shocked REO Speedwagon closed the gig out. Here's what I'll say. I had a spot last night where I recognize I am genuinely getting old. And that moment, Lonzo, that I recognize that I was genuinely getting old, I got to the well at like 6:45, right? I rolled up into the building at like 10 till. So I'm in like 10 minutes early because I'm like, all right, let me get a couple of beers. By the way, went by myself.
See, I noticed the way you worded the ticket thing, you could have said, is there anyone who wants to go with me? I might have went just to laugh.
No, I didn't want you there. I didn't want you there. I didn't want you ruining that
Why?
for me.
Those are my people.
Because it had just been you being snarky to bands I was excited about seeing.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I know.
That's exactly what I would have done.
I didn't want you there. So I went solo. The lady friend's seen them like 3 times. She's like, are you going to be offended if I don't go? I'm like, I don't care. I'll go to a concert by myself. I don't care. So I rolled solo, and I recognized I was old because I get into the building at 10 till. At 5 till, I'm in line to get a beer. At 3 minutes till, I'm cashing out. At 2 minutes till, I hear, ladies and gentlemen, get on your feet for Loverboy. And I'm like, I look at my watch. I'm like, I'm at the point in my life where my rock and roll bands, Lonzo, start the show 2 minutes early.
Did Loverboy start out with loving every minute of it, or do you even remember what the opening song was?
No, because I wasn't in the building yet. I thought I had 2 more minutes. I am at the age where my rock and roll bands don't come on an hour and a half late. They start 2 minutes early so they can get the hell back on the bus and go to sleep.
All right, so when you go to things like this, because anytime I'm out in public, which is not very often, but still, I look around at the demographics of the audience. What would you say the age, the majority of the age of the people there were? I'm just curious.
50s?
Yeah, that's what I figured.
50s?
That's what I said. It would be my people if I'd have went.
Yeah, 50s. And yeah, but it was fine. Like, I will say this. I did have one moment that I did kind of laugh because the guys from Loverboy, which I texted the lead singer in my band, I'm like, I think that we play Loverboy better than Loverboy plays Loverboy.
Is he still wearing a headband?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And
all
aviators.
Right. It is a signature.
No sleeves on the shirt.
Yeah.
And there gets to be a point where he's rolling around and the boys are rolling around.
Rolling literally?
No,
because last I saw of him, he was,
He goes to pick up the mic stand to do like swing in a circle with the mic stand extended. And you can see that it's like, can't really extend it out there like he used to. Like he wanted to still rock and roll, but he's also at the age where he started the rock and roll show 2 minutes early. You know? It's a good show though. I liked it. I had a good time.
So you could get in the back and take a nap.
I started sitting in one spot and then I was like, I actually kind of want to move up higher because I want to look down. Like I'm a musician. I like to look down at the stage because I want to see what kind of gear they're using because I'm a nerd like that. So I moved up into the higher seats in the arena, so I like to the side of the stage so I could look down at it. And so whenever they would turn out the lights between songs, you have the stage runner lights that go like by your guitar pedal and everything so you can see the set list. I'm watching these guys though. And there's one point like 3 songs into the stick set where one of the guitar players, they finish the song, the lights go out, and I see him move his guitar to the side and just go like this.
Rob is now leaning down, stretching his back out, by the way.
Oh, man.
By the way, I make fun of it to a degree and will make fun of REO Speedwagon for the rest of my life. But it's still cool that they're able to get out there and do that at their advanced age and that people are
still their age, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Which I complain about all the time.
I'm just making sure.
Once you hit 50, it's by law, you're allowed to complain about being older. So yeah, I mean, it's cool that they're able to go. And the first thought is you hope they're not doing it because they just don't have any money and they got to do something.
Dude, you're a musician.
Yeah.
If I offered you a chance to get on stage, you'd take it.
True. So it's cool that they still have an audience that's willing to come out and, watch them.
It was impressive. It was a good crowd. Wes said, Rob, why did you fall? One too many booskies from the DA show. No. And as a matter of fact, when I fell and broke my face open, I actually had not been drinking. It was a vasovagal incident, which basically means that for whatever reason, my brain was depleted of oxygen and just turned itself off to save itself. I ended up in the hospital, and I'll tell you this real quick, and then we'll take a break after the third story I said I was going to tell.
By the way, vasovagal sounds like something you get at a deli, but
or a
go
donut
ahead.
shop,
yeah,
right?
There you go.
So I got, here's what happened. I showed up. We were in Charleston, Foley Beach for the weekend. The lady friend, now we had only been together a couple of months at that point, but she had a couple of friends and she's like, what, we were getting to know each other. And she's like, do you want to go to Foley Beach? Do you want to go to Charleston? I got a couple of friends who got a beach house. We can hang out on Foley and get to know each other. I was like, yeah, why not? Why not? So I went over there. I got there on was it Saturday? Yeah, I think it's Saturday night. And it was, or maybe it was, I don't remember. I got there on a night. And the Dallas Cowboys were playing. And I met them at the beach house. They were all just kind of hanging out. And then we went to a bar called the Windbreaker, I believe. It's an open air bar. If you've been to Foley, you know it. It's like when you cross on a Foley Beach. It's like the first bar on the right. And, Foley? Am I saying Foley?
Yeah, I've been trying without correcting you on the
Foley.
mic.
Sorry,
yes,
Foley.
It's okay.
I've been there once.
Yeah, I've never been there.
It was beautiful.
I can't afford it, but I've heard about it.
Had a good time. So Foley, went to Foley Beach. Went to that bar. We ate at this little Cuban joint. We went to the bar. We walked into the bar. I sat down at the bar with the lady friend, a couple of her friends, and then I was just like, I really don't feel good. And I thought it was just the Cuban hitting the wrong way, So I'm like, I think I'm going to throw up. I'm like, I'm going to run to the restroom. She's like, you good? I'm like, yeah, I don't feel great. I stood up. I took 2 or 3 steps away from the bar. I felt myself go lightheaded. I'm like, stood up too fast. Reached over I was going to grab a chair and prop myself up. I remember my arm lifting up, and then I remember waking up on the floor with like 2 firefighters holding my head up like, dude, don't move. You passed out, you hit your head. And I was like, am I okay? And they're like, don't panic, don't freak out. You knocked your teeth out. But don't freak out. I'm like, they're like, yeah, there's a lot of blood. Like, all right, sweet. I didn't even have time to get a couple of drinks in me. It was just, good night. Good night. So anyway, there's that. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. We'll actually talk sports. What is Shane Beamer saying about this game? We talked yesterday, and there were some folks accusing him of sounding desperate. No, he doesn't want to pack the stadium. But what is he saying about the X's and O's? We're going to talk about that. Plus, Dabo says there is one area of the game that Clemson must focus on getting better this weekend. I'm going to tell you what that one area is and why I'm fine with it. Rob LONZO, the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate.
Nah, he got them teeth fixed. See? He got Purdians.
I video called my mom the next day, right? And didn't say anything about it. I just started talking to her. Like 2 minutes in, she's like, "What the hell?"
I would have said I finally achieved my lifelong dream of being a Gangrel cosplayer.
I told her that the swamp rabbits let me come out and practice.
And it didn't go well. So on the chapter title, I started to put concerts for old people, but I changed it to older people, so I think that's less offensive. Am I right or am I wrong?
I mean, you're in the group you're talking about.
Absolutely,
so really it's you.
Absolutely, yeah, but you know. By the way, if you're on stream, do not tune in tomorrow at 9 a.m. Just, it's Friday. Find something else to do. Or you'll be saying, my God, Lonzo was right. No man should ever wear a man bun.
I'm not, we haven't really gotten into it yet. I'm not going to spend a ton of time complaining about Major League Baseball's rule changes that they announced last week because I've gone off on them already. But banning the shift is still dumb. It really is. Defensive team must have a minimum of 4 players on the infield with at least 2 infielders completely on either side of second base. The restrictions are intended to increase the batting average on balls in play. Basically, they're just flat out saying, we're going to make it harder to play defense so that we get more guys on base. Is it just me, or is it kind of dumb that there are rules about the best way to play defense and not allowing it?
Keeping the game pure, man, the way it was meant to be when it was created.
All right, cool. Let's get the forward pass up out of football because that's the way it was meant to be.
I was talking about baseball, and that's their mentality.
It's so dumb. Yes, we understand that this one guy hits it to that side of the field 80% of the time. You're not allowed to have another guy over there. Why? Because just cause I said so. Ugh, so dumb. All right, when we come back, talk a little Gamecock football, a little Tiger football. What is Shane Beamer saying about his depleted defense and how they're going to handle the number 1 offense in the country? We'll talk about that. And what's the one thing about the game that Dabo says the Tigers have to get better at against La Tech this weekend? All that and more coming up in the next hour of the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Today.
Bum bum ba dun 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 dun.
Keegan, I'm guessing the man bun looked awesome on you. Okay. All right. It probably did. But it's not going to on me.
I hope it does. I hope it looks great. I hope Miss Lisa pops in and is like, turns out I actually really like it.
Yeah, don't count on that. So I made a decision today about whether to stop and get gas on the way to work or not, knowing that there's a good possibility that tomorrow I may be wearing a man bun to work. I did not get the gas. So I get punished more than once because I will need gas tomorrow. And I don't know how the man bun flies where I live. I might get jumped. I mean, it could happen. So if I don't come to work tomorrow, it's because I got jumped at the gas station.
No one is going to beat you up
You'll know.
for having a man bun. No, I'm
My hair is the way it is perfectly acceptable where I live. And if I was mullet, I'd be family. But if man bun, it just don't. Yeah, that's just no. You don't want to see the back of my head, Steven. Exactly, Keegan. Exactly. And I read that and I heard the accent when I read what you just put there. Hey, it's Rob Brown.
That guy sucks.
What, did I do a bad, it's been in there forever. Did I do a bad job? Is that, or am I going to be commended? Who did it? You know it was me. All right, I am going to be asked to come over there today. It's just a matter of time. And I'm busy.
What now?
Something wrong with the end of the promo. I must have the wrong tag on it or something. I hate when I mess up. The bad part, it's only been playing for like 3 months or something. That's it. I'm done for the rest of the show.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me.
No, I quit. I quit. I'm checking out.
Okay. Doesn't work for me, though. Our Numenera, so the Rob Brown Show starts right now, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. This is the Fan Upstate. How y'all doing? Great to be with you. I am Rob Brown. Directly across from me, the great one, Lonzo, as at the helm. You're welcome to be a part of the show, 844-FAN phone, 844-326-3663. If you want to jump on board, you can also send a text to the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307-71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. Texter said, thought you were pronouncing it wrong on purpose because you were talking about falling over. No, I just have been there one time in my life and got the name of Folly Beach wrong. That's on me. I make like one mistake a day. Hour. Segment. Did you get it? Somebody explain this text to me. Texter says 160 wiped out the whole damn chicken farm. End quote. That's one of those texts that I hesitate to read because I feel like there's some sort of inferred or implied message here that I don't know what it is. But 160 wiped out the whole damn chicken farm. Did I miss something? Did they send that text to the wrong fan? I got nothing. Texter said, I drafted Mahomes in my fantasy league first quarterback last year. Brady was my second. After the start of the season, I ended up with Brady as my starter the rest of the year. I mean, numbers. Texter says, so Zoe thinks it's wins and championships that determine a great quarterback, so he must think Brady is the best ever. Lonzo is working diligently on other projects for the remainder of the station, the remainder of the day.
Yeah, apparently.
He's not fighting you because that's wrong.
Apparently I said something that got me in trouble, and now, I'm being scrutinized for things. Mistakes are being found. So I'm done. I'm just pushing buttons.
Ethan texted and said, I agree with Lonzo. Eli Manning is not a Hall of Famer without the Super Bowls.
And with the Super Bowls, he will get in the Hall of Fame. Just
Sure
the Super Bowls and the catch. Because when you think of Eli, you think of that.
David Tyree?
Yeah, you think of the catch.
I don't disagree. Texas says, after yesterday's show, Rob watching the game with his pants off, hope he's not playing chess. It's never going away, Lonzo. It's never going away. And I don't want it to. I don't. All right. Let's talk a little football. We told you yesterday that Shane Beamer is all but begging Gamecock fans to show up and show out on Saturday to turn Saturday afternoon at Willie B into a way too early Saturday night party at Willie B while the sun is still up. And a lot of people have been like, uh-oh, Shane sounds desperate. Shane's out. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He sounds like a guy that knows his team feeds off of electricity, and a noon game doesn't bring the same juice into the stadium as the 7 o'clock crowd does, and he just wants to have that place packed to the rafters.
I could be wrong, but I think I recall Dabo doing the same thing.
I think every coach
and
has done
most coaches do that. They want as many of their fans in the stands. What's wrong with that?
Nothing at all. That's why I don't get the folks on social media.
If you are looking for, if you're calling this desperation, you're one of those see people. That's what you are.
I am intrigued by the folks who are looking at this like Shane's desperate. No, he's not. Shane's just trying to get the best situation he can get in a game where he's a 24-point underdog. Actually, has that line moved again? I know that line's moved like a full point since it became available. Has it moved again? Let me check that. While I do that,
I'm sure that's going to be on the Boo Box tomorrow.
I doubt it.
Okay.
You taking South Carolina?
No.
No.
Okay.
Neither of us is.
All right.
I try to avoid games where I know for a fact we are going to go.
All right. I got to admit, I'm probably going to have a hard time picking tomorrow because my hair is going to be way too tight.
The blood flow to the noggin's going to be changed up. I get it. Like this one. I'll tell you another one that's not going to be on the list. Oklahoma -11 against Nebraska. Are either of us taking the Huskers in that?
Nebraska might be rallying. Their coach has been let go. The players are really upset about it. They love that dude. And now they're just going to come out there and they're going to play their hearts out. No, we're not. Not going to do that.
No, not at all. Not at all. I would rather pick Buffalo, Coastal Carolina. Because at least, actually, that's not true. We're both going Coastal Carolina in that one, too. -14. Give me Grayson McCall all day. All right. So, what is one thing we might see out of this offense? Here's the thing, Zoe. This team, South Carolina, has nothing to lose on Saturday, right? Nothing to lose.
So what's a good score for the Gamecocks Saturday? We know Georgia's going to win.
A cover would be amazing.
So what? Let's say the Gamecocks put up like 14 points. Is that good against Georgia? It's the number one team in the nation.
I don't know where. I mean, I guess I would need to know what your definition of the word good is here. If they put up 14, I'd go, all right, at least the offense moved the ball. Unless they're like garbage time touchdowns. Right?
And if the defense causes Georgia to punt, how many times do they have to cause Georgia to punt before it was a good game for the defense?
3, 4.
Okay. There's nothing. I could care less about moral victories or stupid. There's no such thing as a moral victory. Yeah, it's just this is dumb. This is just about how well you play. How well did you play against what is considered to be the best competition? If you came out there and you executed to the best of your ability,
that's a moral victory.
No. You execute to the best of your ability and you got beat by someone that was just better. That's not a moral victory.
That is the definition of a moral victory.
Now I got to look up what the definition of a moral victory is.
If they come out and let's say they get beat 47-21.
I roll number 2, by the way.
Yes, and here's why. Because this moral victory conversation has been going on for like 3 days on this station now. And I am so tired of the take of nothing matters if you don't win. Like, they're 24-point dogs, dude.
I looked up moral victory because I was curious, and according to Oxford, a moral victory is a defeat that can be interpreted as a victory on moral terms. For example, because the defeated party defended their principles. See, that's the thing. The part that bothers me there is the moral thing. All right, there's probably a better definition or a better term to describe it, but what do morals have to do with a football game?
I'd be happy to call it a morale victory.
That's better. That's better than moral victory.
So I have no issue with a moral/morale victory. Because as long as you're like South Carolina, is there a such thing as a moral victory for Georgia? No.
If 5 years from now, I'm looking back at the win-loss category, okay, they had 6 wins, this many losses. Oh, but wait, on that third category, the fourth, because ties in there too, that fourth category, they had 3 moral victories. That's not bad. So that's a stat that's being kept. Moral victories is a stat.
No. But there's a lot of stats we don't keep. Moral
Yeah,
victory.
we got beat by 35, but we tried really hard. Good for you.
Here's where I come on the thought of moral victories. I think some people will often use moral victories as an excuse for not working harder to achieve actual victories, right? I think some people will use them as an excuse. Like, yeah, well, we didn't win, but, we did this right and this right and this right. That doesn't inherently make moral victories bad. Because what's the one thing that we were looking for out of Shane Beamer's offense this year? Shane Beamer's football team this year? Were we looking for a national championship? No.
More victories than last year.
What do we call that? Improvement.
Yes,
right?
improvement.
Improvement.
Morals have nothing to do with it.
Improvement.
You got better.
I understand your objection to the use of the word moral in the phrase moral victory. I understand your objection to the use of the word moral. I think that is jingoistic. I think that is a matter of vernacular, right? Like, I don't think anybody is leaving talking about a moral victory from the standpoint of, we did the right thing, everybody. I think moral victory, that's why I wouldn't be opposed to switching up the terminology to calling it a morale victory. Something that even though you walked out with an L, you can hang your head high, right? Or I guess raise your head up high. You can walk out and be proud of yourself. Yeah, Keegan just said emotional victory. I don't even know if I want to call it emotional, right? And I don't want to call it emotional because it's not, Texter just said, it's like hanging a banner that says, we tried really hard. No. If you go out.
What's the difference between a moral victory and a participation trophy?
I'm trying to get there. Let me see if I can clean up my language a bit here.
I almost made him curse.
No, that's not what it's not what I meant. It's not what I meant. Let me try to clear up my language a little bit here. When it comes to a moral victory, what I mean is, when you walk off the field of play, you may have lost, and your feelings may be hurt that you lost. But can you walk off the field of play and genuinely say, I left everything out there? And did you get better for it, right? If this team that is this is a 24.5 point underdog. Lonzo, if they lose 24-21, 28-24, 28-21, if they lose 24-21, what's going to be your thoughts on this game on Monday?
That they played really well.
And?
Oh, and the national media will say that Georgia played down to the competition.
Say whatever the hell they want. If they go into Columbia on Saturday and Georgia wins 28-24, 28-21, 24-20, I'm going to come in here and go, proud as hell.
There was a time when no matter how good Georgia was, South Carolina played them in a way that ended up being weird scores, like 15-8 and stuff like that. So that would not shock me at all.
I think that if they walk off the field, and let's say it's a close game. Let's say it's a 10-point game. Let's say they walk off the field 34-24, right? I think everybody's going to come in here on Monday, if you're a South Carolina fan, and go, I'm damn proud of this team. They fought, they scrapped, they gave what they had. I don't think they will. I think they're going to get blown out of the water. But my question is, did you get better? Did you improve? Is there a marked improvement from last year to this year?
But see, here's the problem with this, with the whole stupid moral victory thing. When it comes down to it, if you ask a player when he walks off the field, how you feel? I don't feel good. We lost. You know what feels good? Winning feels good. Losing does not. I mean, good. You went out and executed. You did everything that you were supposed to do. You're not going to get disgraced in film session tomorrow. Way to go. But how do you feel about it? It stinks because you lost.
Winning is built on a foundation, right? You don't just bring 53 dudes together and win. It is built on a foundation. Think about every great NFL coach, right? They all write entire books on building a foundation that you can build a Super Bowl caliber quality team on top of it. Winning has to be built at a foundational level. You might every now and then see a flash in the pan team that comes out and has a really great run just on talent alone, but you don't see teams with long-term success. Nick Saban has built a foundation upon which greatness rests. Dabo Swinney at Clemson has built a foundation upon which greatness rests. You don't even have to like the foundation. It's irrelevant, right? There's a lot of folks out there who don't like the foundation that Nick Saban has built, but he doesn't care. It works. There's a lot of people across the nation that do not like the foundation that Dabo Swinney has built at Clemson. Do you care, Clemson fans? Hell no, you don't, because that foundation works for you. Shane Beamer is in the process of building that foundation right now, right? Don't expect greatness now. It's like looking at a patch of dirt and throwing some wood down to build a house. No. You got to build the foundation for winning before you can win. And morale victories are built into the foundation. Morale victories where you can point and go, okay, yeah, we lost by 24, but we held them to. We accomplished. We scored. We got this many turnovers. We got this many sacks. We held them to only this many rushing yards, this many receiving yards. We kept them out of the end zone for this many plays, etc. All of that makes up the concrete that is the foundation that you build your winning on top of. So if they walk out of there and they've won 28-20 or 35-24, but there are spots that I can come in here on Monday morning and go, welcome to the Rob Brown Show. South Carolina's defense, although banged up, was really impressive. South Carolina's offense really got the passing game working against Georgia and moved the ball better than I thought they would. Those are moral victories that make up the foundation of winning, especially at the college football level. Because now, when you go out there and you lose to Georgia, but you're able to accomplish X and Y and Z with that recruiting classes out there, and your defense holds Georgia to 92 yards rushing, you can go up to these defensive recruits and go, you see how close we are? You see how close we are? That's the number one team in the country over there. We just held them to under 100 yards rushing. Imagine what we can do when we add you onto that defense. Imagine what we can accomplish when we just did that to the best team in the country, even though we lost, when you're the missing piece, when you're the next guy up there, when you're the guy that's going to be sporting the helmet last year or next year. Dig that, right? That's the foundation that winning is built on. I understand, like, I don't remember who it was, but I saw somebody the other day, it's like, South Carolina fans shouldn't be bragging about more. Yes, you should. Yes, you should, because it means your team's getting better. It means the team's getting better. If you go out there and you get your asses handed to you, and there is nothing good to talk about on Monday, not a moral victory, what's the point? But if you go out there and you take the little things you did right, and you improve on them week after week. I'll tell you one thing I really liked last week in the Arkansas game. The connection zone between Spencer Rattler and Austin Stogner, the tight end. Ran some excellent short routes on short down situations. Stogner was getting in behind linebackers, finding the open spot in the zone, sitting in it. Rattler was putting the ball in his hands. They had a number of chain-moving moments because of Austin Stogner. That's a fantastic foundation. Build on that. Develop on that. Now what I want to see is them start taking advantage of that and maybe running a secondary route behind Stogner. Force that linebacker to pick which one of those guys he's going to defend in his zone. Maybe you start having Stogner fake to the inside, run outside, run a couple of tight end out routes. Maybe just sprint him down the seam one time. Try to manipulate the fact that Georgia knows Austin Stogner's a good pass-catching tight end. And if I see that, morale victory. Does it change the score? Hopefully. Does it mean South Carolina wins? No. You're still going to lose. But can you walk out of there and circle on the stat sheet 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 spots that you very clearly got better? Because all we wanted out of this season was not a natty, was not a playoff appearance, was not a New Year's Six bowl. It was not an SEC championship. Hell, it's not a divisional championship. What did we want out of this team? An improved record. Improvement. Literally the only thing that we wanted out of this team was what? Improvement. And whether you like it or not, improvement is a moral victory. Being able to say we are better now than we were last week. And we will be better next week than we were this week. That is the definition, metaphorically, of a moral victory. You're damn right I want to see a moral victory out of South Carolina this weekend. Because you're going to get hammered. You're going to lose by 24 or more. I want to know when I come in here on Monday, can I go South Carolina lost by 27, but, and then lay out a handful of good things that I saw. And if the answer is yes, that is pouring the foundation that winning is built on. If the answer is no, that sucks. We're in trouble. But moral victories make up that foundation. Moral victories make up future success. Celebrate the things that are going right. Build on the things that are going right. Recruit on the things that are going right. Because it's the only way this program gets better. Got a couple of texts that have come in so far. Texter says, I have to say on the definition of a moral victory, Zoe is right, and pounding the desk just makes you sound silly. So the only thing that matters is the final score then. If you don't win, if you did, Lonzo and I didn't win the trophy for Best Sports Talk Radio Show in South Carolina this year. So we quit. We're done, right? We suck. We didn't win it. We didn't get the trophy that says we're the best, so we should just quit and what? Do you see how silly that sounds? You are trying to, everyone in everything they do is trying to get better at that thing. Growth is important. Improvement is important.
None of that has anything to do with morals.
Morale victories.
None of that has to do with anything. In the end, it's a sport. The most important thing is a victory. The worst thing is a loss. If you talk to the players,
in any one
if you talk to the players on the team after whatever happens Saturday, if they lose, even if they lose by 4 or they lose by 40, they're not going to be happy. They're not going to go, yeah, but I played really well. No, they're going to be, we lost.
Sure, because it's emotional, and I get that. But to discredit everything else because the only thing that matters is the final score. Why the hell does Old Dominion play football?
It's not discrediting everything else. We're just talking about moral victories. Moral victories, it just makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense. Improvement is what you want to do every day in your life, period.
Sure.
Not just on the football field or the basketball court. If you got better today, then you're a better person. But that has nothing to do with why you're playing a game. You play to win. You don't play to be, yay, I did really well. You play to win.
If you're Shane Beamer, don't you have to build towards winning?
You play to win.
Every time you hire a coach, if he doesn't go 12-0, it's a disappointment because he didn't win.
Yeah. You don't win all your games, you're a disappointment.
That's not how it works. Nick Saban got his ass kicked his first year at Bama. Could you imagine if Bama fans ran him on a rail out of Tuscaloosa because Florida State beat him in his debut year?
They probably wanted to.
Sure. Good freaking thing nobody listened to him, huh? Good freaking thing.
No, he just would have went somewhere else and won.
Let's take a break. I'm not done with this. I'm not done with this. and texter.
I really wish you would stop doing that.
I know. But I can't be called silly and not do it. All right, send your text to 71307, starting with Fan. Got a lot of them. I'm going to read through those when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Juicy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Something else to do today.
James, good morning, buddy. Welcome in.
Everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Granger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations, so you get the product you're looking for. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time.
Don't get yourself in trouble, James.
$26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports. There's nothing worse than
Rob doesn't remember yesterday. I do.
Very clearly, I do not.
Sponsored by Publix Supermarkets. Making an appointment to get your flu shot at the Publix pharmacy online is fast and easy. Most insurance plans covered at no cost. Choose the best day and time for you. Visit Publix.com/flu to find a pharmacy and make an appointment, or head to your local Publix pharmacy for details. Restrictions apply.
All right, so we're having this discussion about moral victories versus you play to win the game. To me, moral, or I guess morale victories are signs of improvement, are signs of growth. And when you are a not great football team, growth is all you can ask for, right? It's not the NFL where you pick up a piece or two and all of a sudden the next year you jump from bottom of the barrel to in contention. It's college football. It's growth. It takes time. If Bama fans ran Nick out of Tuscaloosa on a rail because he got it smoked in his opening year by FSU in Jacksonville, a game that I covered, like some Bama fans wanted him to, because they only accepted real victories, not moral victories, Alabama would have screwed themselves out of a dynasty, right? Miami, a couple of years ago, got rid of a coach who was absolutely killing it and was improving Miami, but was doing so by an overall culture change, and decided to run him out of town in a rail because 7-5 wasn't good enough, right? I'm not saying that that would have resulted in a dynasty being built. I am saying the Hurricanes at the time were on an upward trend, I thought. Were on an upward trend. And instead of giving Randy Shannon time to figure it out and continue to change the culture, they ran him out of town on a rail. And where did that bring them? To Al Golden, and then Larry Scott, and then Mark Richt, and then Manny Diaz. How'd that go for you? Not great. Not great. I'm hoping Mario Cristobal's the guy to turn it around, but the point is, They all went, no, we don't want moral victories. We want actual victories. And then they got very few of those after they ran Randy Shannon out of town post Larry Coker era. It's not a good look, man. You don't have to like it, but it's just not. Let's get a couple of texts in here that we've gotten so far. Text says, with the Georgia game, what I'm hoping for the most is another high-quality big win Beamer meme / screenshot of him cheering like a kid after the Gamecocks get their first touchdown, making the score 41-7. Texas said, Lonzo's attitude towards needing to win every game shows just how spoiled he is as an Ohio State fan.
I need some clarification here. Was that a diss?
No, I actually, for the record, I actually think it's a good point. I do. I think it's very easy to talk smack about moral victories when all your team does is have real victories.
All right, so
your team, though, hasn't had to improve in 20 years.
no, there was that Luke Fickell year. It was pretty bad.
19 out of 20 years.
So I'm, all kidding aside, not coming at this from that standpoint. I'm coming from it from a former player on a football field and how it feels when you get beat. And trust me, I know something about that because my high school team didn't win ever. I mean, we won 2 games my senior year, and you know what? One of those was because one of the teams forfeited. We actually lost that game, but we got that victory, okay? I played really hard, got really good, averaged like a sack a game, complimented, graded high almost every single game. How did I feel after the game? Horrible.
Yeah,
You know
I get
why?
it.
Because we didn't win.
I get it. I understand it.
I didn't go, wow, you know what? I held my blocks better this time. I got an extra sack this time. I stopped the running game a bunch. I did this. I did that. No, but the team lost.
I get it.
It's so you lost.
I get it. But it is about perspective. It is.
Speaking of perspective, here's the perspective by a lot of people. If your team is a losing team and has a history of being a losing team, all you can get is moral victories. Winning teams with a history of winning never talk about moral victories because they only talk about victories.
If you walk into a gym and you set a goal of, I want to be able to bench press 400 pounds, right? And you walk into a gym and you put 400 pounds on the rack and you get Beef to spot you and Beef picks the bar up and then it just crushes your chest. Do you go, that's it? Nope. I lost. I didn't know.
By the way, in that scenario, I'm dead. Okay, so that doesn't. I mean, 400 pounds on your chest because your spotter didn't help you. You're probably dead.
So here's my point.
Stick of beef.
You don't look at that and go, I failed. I mean, you did. You absolutely did. But it was an immense challenge. What do you do instead? What you do is you go into the gym and you put on the max you can do right now. Maybe it's 120 and maybe it's 200, maybe it's 250, whatever the max is. You throw the max up there and you do it. And then the next day you come in and you go max plus 5. And if you don't get it up, you don't go, yeah, I quit. You give yourself credit for the effort. And you get stronger. And then the next day you come in, and the next day you come in, and maybe 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 days you don't get it. But one day, max plus 5 is now just max. And then you add 5 more, and you do it again. And then one day, all of a sudden, you're at 380, and you're close.
Speaking of credit, I'm going to give you credit for changing the scenario and making it an individual thing instead of a team thing. So
Is
now,
the team not an individual?
No. You went to the weight room where it's an individual thing and not a team thing. Because an individual can have the best game of his life and still lose. He doesn't come out of it going, man, I had the best game of my life. No, he comes out of it going, man, we lost.
A team acts as an individual. That's every coach is going to tell you that. We've got to act as one. We've got to block as one, tackle as one, run as one, pass as one, catch as. I get what you're saying. You're trying to discredit the example because the example's good. I get it.
No, the example went singular where we were talking about team.
All right. Texter says, taking Georgia's best punch this week could lead to beating Florida or Tennessee later. Spot on. Spot freaking on.
And you know what? Those will be actual victories. They won't be moral victories.
Right. Last year, you had an actual victory over Florida. It felt good, didn't it? It felt right. It felt
You
good.
act like that's a big deal.
Last year it wasn't. But it was a victory, right? It was a victory. And what did you take out of the victory? Some growth, some improvement, right? You got better. You got better. And then you went and you got smoked by Clemson, right? And that sucked. But did you grow from that? When Lonzo and I didn't win Crystal Hardware this year, we didn't come in here and go, we suck. We suck. We failed. Because we don't fail. We don't fail. We put on good shows. We've got good numbers. The bosses appreciate and like the product that we're putting out there. From what I can tell, you guys seem to appreciate and like the product we're putting out there. So what did we do? I mean, I can't say what Lonzo did. I'll tell you what I did. I rededicated myself, and I said failure is not an option again. I'm not winning that thing next year. I'm going to get better. I took an L, and it stung. Ask the people who know me personally in my life. I was hurt by it. The night that the lady friend looked up the nominations and saw that Zoe and I were not finalists, ask her how the rest of that night went for me. I beat the hell out of myself that night, y'all. And I came in here the next day, and what I say, I will be better for you guys, for Lonzo, for the bosses, for me. I will be better. The show will get better. I will get better, etc. And every day I walk out of here knowing I have taken an L, but I'm going to get better from it. I'm going to grow. That's what I'm looking for here. I'm not expecting South Carolina to win this game. And if they lose this game, I'm not going to come in here on Monday and go, you lost to Georgia, you losers.
All right. You had me to, you said every day I walk out of here knowing I've taken an L. I've never walked out of here thinking that I've taken an L.
Good on you. I do. Frequently walk out of here going, I took an L. I took an L by not winning that hardware. I've taken L's by finishing a segment and going, that segment wasn't as good as it should be. I've taken L's by going, I didn't get through my prep sheet material and I wasted some good topics. I take L's every day. I take L's. And I use those L's to push myself to not do it again. And sometimes I fail again and again and again. But I show the hell up. Because I take the moral victories and grow off of them. Texas says, Rob, here's a few things to expect after the Georgia game. 1, the Gamecocks are the punchline of next week's SEC Shorts video. I can already see the guy in the jersey with crutches and bandages. 2, Gamecock fans are going to start calling for Marcus Satterfield's head. 3, Gamecocks fans will immediately and inexplicably ask into the ACC after their loss. Yes, maybe, and no. Take some thoughts. LM says, what? In the butt segment was a W yesterday. Yeah, no, I know that was a W. I said I take some L's, but I also fly the dub frequently, and that segment was one of them. Take a break. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Prisma.
All right, kids, we're back. Well, I'm back. Lonzo will be back momentarily. My poor mother said, she's like, you guys are fighting a lot this week. Are you okay? Like, it's radio. Lonzo and I, every day, we get out of here. We go into the Fortress of Nerditude. We put on some boxing gloves. We throw fisticuffs for a few minutes, and then we're fine. That's how the show works. That's not true. I've never been hit in the face in my life. I've no interest in it. Sounds miserable.
I wouldn't punch you in the face anyway. We want to hurt the moneymaker.
Correct. Bum, 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 bum. All right, heading towards the end of our numero dos. Remember, Fight Club with Lonzo coming up at 11:20. Your home for all things combat sports in the upstate. MMA's been wild lately. Professional wrestling has been in a fever pitch. Boxing has got some big fights coming up. Alexander Usyk wants to fight Deontay Wilder while he waits for Josh and Tyson to get it on. So we'll talk some combat sports coming up at 11:20. Let me finish up this moral victories conversation that we stumbled into this morning. Texter says, today, Junior. Listen, this is a weird conversation to have, Zoe, because it is relatively abstract, right? Like, it is relatively subjective about, and there's a lot of semantics involved in what is a moral victory. To me, a moral victory, it means growth. It means improvement. It means striving to be better and seeing the results of being better, which if you're South Carolina, that is the best you can ask for right now. Show me improvement. Show me you're getting better.
The problem with this is it's just an opinion. It can't be cemented. It's not, because it's not really a thing to me.
Improvement? Or the concept of
moral
a moral
victories.
victory?
Moral victories are not a thing. To you, it is one. So, but again, it's my opinion. It's not a thing. It's your opinion. It is a thing. So it's not something that we can go look at facts and say and break things down to those kind of details. We can't do it because it comes down to an opinion.
It's a definition. Let me ask you this then. Let me put it this way. Do you believe that if South Carolina loses this football game, but we come in here on Monday and we go, they actually impressed me. They look good. They got smoked, but they looked like a better football team in the process.
By the way, I expect them to play well. I don't expect them to win. I expect them to play well because Will Muschamp is no longer their coach. So they're going to play well because we've seen what the worst is. You can't do any worse than that, in my opinion. So there's just no moral victories. I just don't. I don't get it.
All right. Let's see. I'm looking for, I got a couple more texts that have come in. Text says, oh, where'd that one go? Fine. I hate sharing a text line. I really do. We got to get that worked on. Anyway, so we've gotten a couple of texters about it. But I will also say that I do think the texter had a point when he points out that very frequently the folks who are going, there are no moral victories, are very frequently fans of teams that have a lot of real victories, right? South Carolina ain't Clemson. They ain't Bama. They ain't Ohio State. And it is really easy to rail on about how the only thing that counts are scoreboard victories when your team does that all the time and with rare exception. Carolina's not Ohio State. They're not Clemson. They're not Bama. They're not Georgia. Moral victories, or whatever you want to call them and define them as, moral victories are the stepping stone to actual victories. You got to get better. And if you walk off the field down 24, but your offense moved the ball on the ground, which they haven't done, but the passing offense opened up, which it should. They got the talent to do that. Your offensive line was able to limit Georgia's pass rush. These are all what I would call moral victories. Or if you want to drop the MV tag, improvements. And at the end of the day, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for improvements. And if I get them, I'll take them. Texas says, cue the L stands for lessons, not losses quote. I don't have an issue with that. Texas says, we didn't beat the number one defending national champs. Everything is awful. There are going to be some Gamecock fans that say stuff like that, and it's silly. I agree. Hour number 3 is just around the corner on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Kobe. Texter said, sounds communist.
And I will teach you the electric slide. Ola, ola, eh.
When the bathroom, the electric slide was playing, and it will be in my head for the rest of the day.
I put it on polka, so somebody must have changed it.
You can do it. It's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie.
Let's see if I get in trouble for not being creative enough with chapter titles when we talked about the same thing all 3 segments. So just move the words around. I mean, it's just it may not happen, but it wouldn't shock me.
Segment 1, moral victories, question mark. Statement 2, victories are moral, question marks. Question 3, what are morals?
That will be my solution if I... Maybe I should, be a part of the beta testing for some of this stuff, because I will ask questions like that apparently other people haven't asked. And what if you're a show that basically does the same show every single day?
Good thing that's not us.
Yeah, I mean, how do you? What if they go back and go, okay, why does this say the same today that it said yesterday?
All right, 60 more minutes of moral No, I'm just kidding. We're not. I think we've pretty much dried out that well, yeah?
If you did go 60 more minutes for moral victory, would that be a moral victory for moral victories?
I think that moral victory needs something to feel good about, you know? Something to feel good about, something to say we got better today. And that's a moral victory for moral victories.
I guarantee you in the Fight Club, we're going to beat up moral victories.
Rob Brown and Lonzo with you, the third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show starts now. This is the Fan Upstate. Glad to have you guys. Appreciate you joining us. 844-FAN phone, 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. I know a conversation has hit its peak when I get the text that says, Rob sounds communist, end quote. That's how I know we have bled that horse dry. Texas said, just tuning in, would South Carolina be able to consider their game a moral victory if they do well? I had to define do well. For some people, do well is only a win. For some people, do well is the ground game improves or blocking improves. I mean, yeah, just depends on what you mean by do well. Obviously, we'll spend a lot more time breaking that game down tomorrow on the radio broadcast. Can I get something not off my chest? Can I unload something that I'm very frustrated by real quick?
I thought that's what that whole last hour was about.
That's what the show is for me every day. You know what you guys are, dear listeners? You guys are my unpaid therapist. Right? I just get to come in here and get off my chest the things that are killing me as long as I make it vaguely entertaining. So, I had a meeting about a week ago with a PR rep here in town for a client. And we were discussing some different strategies that we could take to help advertise for them. Well, the guy shows up and he's got something that I thought was really cool on. So it was like an iPad. It was like the shape of one of the older iPads. But he was able to like write on it with a pen, right? So it was like a tablet, but it acted like a notebook, and he
It's
could
like a ThinkPad, isn't it? I think ThinkPads are what you can write on.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, this thing was it was a really thin. It was just a tablet. It was like the thickness of like a 20-page notebook, size of an iPad. And he would write on it, and when he wrote on it, it looked like he was writing with pencil, right? And he could, for instance, open up a PDF file on this thing, right? Like he pulled up a PDF file on it that was a document that the sales guy that was with us had sent over to him, and he was able to basically scribble notes like he had a pencil onto the PDF and then resave the PDF with his handwritten notes on them. And I thought that's actually really cool. As somebody who writes, I write all the time when I'm doing the show. My like the desk in my office, I've gone through 3 or 4 notepads just this year because I write notes all the time.
People don't really write that much anymore, though.
I know.
Yeah, people type.
Right.
And
I love having a pen. I always have a pen on me because I write everything.
If you watch the show, you see I write all the time
100%.
too. But if I don't, I will never write at all, and I'll forget how to write.
See, that's forget how to write.
See, you're laughing about that. I'm serious. I mean, do you ever think about how do I write a capital Q?
No. Sorry.
Have you ever forgotten how to write a capital
No,
Q?
I can't say I have.
I have forgotten how to write a capital Q, and some of it could be.
Can you write in cursive?
Yes.
See, that's all I write is in cursive. And
Yeah.
I've had people tell me they don't remember how to write in cursive because they haven't done it in years.
Yeah, that's what I meant. A capital Q
Oh,
in
okay.
cursive, not a capital, which is like a 2.
Forget the letter Q.
It looks like a 2. Anyway, but still, I mean, most people don't write anymore. So because everything is digital, everything is, Chris Evans, who you talk about all the time, I don't recall ever seeing him write.
Fair.
Because all he does, everything is on keyboard.
Yeah.
And so we have to keep track of some daily things and things like that. I've always just handwritten.
Yeah, see, I write constantly. And so I saw this tablet he had where he was able to like pull up documents but then write his notes down. And then what was really cool, though, is he could write these notes and then punch a button on the tablet and it would turn them into font. Like it would turn them into like computer type, right? So he could write down his notes and then push a button and it would type those words on the screen for him.
Yeah, that would be a problem for me because the computer would be like,
You're
I don't,
a drunk doctor. I can't transcribe this.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Anyway, so Texter says, Rob, as many times as we've heard you drop that pen, we know you always have one. Yeah, you'll notice, though, I don't keep my pen over here anymore.
Yeah, instead you pick the football up and spin that, or you pound on the desk. Producer's nightmare.
It's your choice, buddy. Anyway, the point of all of that was this. I went and looked at this tablet because I was going to buy one, right? I was going to buy one. I would get the miles out of that just during this show. Because you guys say stuff all the time that I'm like, I need to circle back and respond to that. And I got to type it in my show prep. If I could just write it next to me, it would be, for me, it's just more enjoyable that way. So I went to buy one of these tablets. Like I went to their website and I found the newest model because I'm a 1%er and it's the one I wanted. And I had it customized outright. I wanted it black because everything I have is black. I loved it. And then I went to push buy and it was like $250. I'm like, for me, that's like, I would get my money's worth out of that because I'd use it literally all the time, every day.
What else does it do, though?
Emails back and forth. You can pull up any file. You can hook it up to a cloud so that you can have every document you need available. Connects to the internet, so you can it's an iPad, but it's got a pen and you can write on it and take your notes and then push a button and turn it into the font that document uses. And I thought this is the tablet, if you're interested in it, is called Remarkable, right? So I went and pulled it up and I looked at it and I went to buy it. And Zoe, it said at the bottom, first year of service free, $14.99 a month after that. And I was like, the hell? So I was curious and I opened that up. And basically the way it worked was the tablet you could write on at any time, but if you wanted to be able to hook it up to the cloud, which is what you would need to be able to send documents back and forth. If you wanted to hook it up to the cloud, you had to pay a service $14.99 a month in order to have it hooked up to the cloud and be able to move documents around and have it connected to your email and all of that. I get it in that the use of the cloud is like an ongoing thing, right? Like they constantly have to be generating.
So you couldn't use like a Google account on it or something
No,
like that?
you can't.
Okay.
Like it won't
All
hook
right.
up to that kind of OS. It's got its own OS. You can't like log into your Gmail. But you can hook it up to its cloud, so when you're in front of a computer, you can take your documents from your computer, put it on your tablet cloud, and then they're accessible to this tablet, right? It's not like it doesn't have like a browser on it per se. $14.99 a month after that. And I was like, dude, so I got to give you $250 for the tablet, and then I got to pay you another $15 every month after that just to use it. When did we hit this point that everything in life has to have a monthly subscription? Like, you can't just buy things outright anymore. You have to subscribe to everything. And I got really mad about it. And then I thought about it because I saw a bunch of people talking about this on the internet when I was doing my research on this tablet to decide if I wanted to buy it or not. And that was the big complaint. And I'm like, I tell the folks, I'm like, all right, listen, I've got it at this point. I've got it down to the reason everything is that way for a lot of folks, for like this tablet, for instance, is that they've got to constantly be putting support into the infrastructure for you to be able to use that cloud, right? Because they've got to store that data for you. They've got to generate the electricity to have that data available. They've got to be able to provide the connection to the cloud for your computer or your tablet to hook up to it, etc. But then I remembered that, and I don't remember what brand car it is, so I'm not going to call out the company because I don't remember. But I don't remember which one it is. But you could buy, you buy a car with heat warmers in it for the seat, right? Like your seat warmers. And if you wanted those seat warmers to work, you had to pay a subscription cost every month. So the car carries the hardware and the software around to have heat seats. But if you want the heated seats to work, you got to give money to the car company every month to turn them on. When did everything become a subscription? Why can't we just buy stuff and just have it? It's just yours now. You bought this, now it's yours. Do with it what you want. When it's broke, bring it back, we'll fix it.
It's all the internet's fault. Back in the day when you only had 3 or 4 channels, 4 if you counted PBS, you didn't have to pay for those. And then you started getting HBO and cable and stuff like that you had to pay for. And
Which,
then
by the way,
so they realized people will pay for this.
Yeah,
Let's
monthly.
find some more stuff they'll pay for.
We're totally on our way back to cable, by the way. It's just now your cable comes over the internet. All right. Anyway, it bugged me. I didn't buy the tablet. I didn't buy it because I'm like, dude, I'm gonna end up like in the first year, I'm gonna owe you another I can just buy the new tablet again. The hell?
Or just carry around a pen and pad and continue doing the way you do it. Look archaic. Look like an old guy.
Why would I carry around a notepad when I could carry around a thing that's the same shape and size as a notepad?
Or you could just use your phone and dictate to your phone just to put it
I
up
hate
there.
that. I hate that.
You will look like your age, like people walking through Walmart,
hate that.
talking on, instead of putting the phone up to their ear, and it will record everything you say, and you won't even have to write it down.
I would pay a subscription cost to not have to listen to people talk on speakerphone anymore.
It is. It's pretty annoying.
It's an epidemic. If you
And
are
then-
in
then-
public, turn your freaking speakerphone off.
Then talk louder. I can't hear you. Well, put the phone to your ear.
Yeah. Turns out there's an easy way to fix that. If you were in public, when we went down to the Dominican, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago? When we went down to the Dominican, we were at the airport in Miami on the way back. And it's like, I don't know, 7 o'clock in the afternoon or at night, I guess. And we were sitting in a restaurant in the Miami airport trying to eat. And there was a dude 2 tables down who took a phone call. Lonzo put his phone on speakerphone, sat it down on the middle of his table, and ate his meal while talking on speakerphone. I'm like, dude, just tell him you'll call him back because I'm about to RKO you through that table. You jerk. All right. Let's do this real quick because we got Fight Club coming up next. Can I tell you that I've made a point on the show of telling you guys in the past that I think televised sports in an age where sports are going downhill in terms of attendance, and that's a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them. There's a video going around on the internet right now. Lonzo talked about it to open the show.
Really?
Yep. There's a video going around right now.
I haven't seen it in a while, but because you're going to talk about it, it's going to show up.
Big Brother's watching. Skynet is watching. There's a video going around on the internet from the week one. I believe it was the Bengals game. Week one of the National Football League season, the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Steelers at home. And there's a video making its way around on social media of I don't want to get in trouble, Lonzo. How old was that lady?
She looks like someone who enjoys a 12-pack from time to time, and those people and probably some cigarettes, so they age differently. I'm going to go 24.
This woman is very clearly in her late 50s, early 60s.
By the way, no, she's not. She is not very clearly that. You're actually going to look at it. No. She is not that old. Maybe 40s, but not as old as you're saying.
All right. Well, courtesy, dude. Yes, she is. I would spin the video.
No, I don't want to see it again.
That lady's in her 50s. Anyway, there's a video going around of this woman sitting in her chair at, I believe, the Bengals game. There's a lot of orange, so I'm assuming it is. She's in a black and white tank top. And of course, wouldn't you know it, in the drink holder in the seat in front of her is a White Claw. And this woman is just sitting there like a normal person. And she just yaks. And it is clear fluid. It's gross.
It's very Exorcist-esque.
Yes, it is.
Because it's like someone turned the faucet on.
Yep. Yes, it is.
There's no intermittent. It's just
Nope.
a constant spray.
It's clear.
Enjoy
And
your
here's the
brunch,
thing.
people.
Here's the thing. There's so much going on in this video. First off, the woman, Lonzo, she's not like, I don't know about you. When I hurl, I like retch. I'm like, huh? Like it's a workout, man. It works out your core. This woman, though, she just sits there. She's just sitting there, and then she's like, huh?
It's just a normal.
Just sitting there.
It's just a normal reaction for her. Like, oh, I must be full.
Yeah.
It's like that. Yeah.
Just
it's not.
sits there having conversations between yaks. She's like, huh? So how about old Joey B needs to pick up the backside? Huh?
You know those
Blitz, right?
monster movies, zombies, or something where the creature just walks up and then something comes out. It's just
It's that.
It's that for sure.
Does it impact her life at all? She's just fine. She's like, yeah, I got to tell you, we're out there and we switched up from the 4-3 to the 3-4, and I don't understand why it is that we're not walking the linebacker out into coverage. Like, no problem. But here's the part that drives me crazy. Lonzo, I don't know about you. If I'm in a football stadium, and this has not happened to me, but if I'm in a if I'm in public and I feel like I'm going to yak, I am getting as far away from people as possible. And if I can't get as far away from people as possible, like into isolation, I'm at least clearing the area of people. There is, in front of this woman, in the seat right in front of her, another woman who, by the way, in a neck brace, this woman clearly is not having the best time of her life right now. This lady's in the seat behind her. Oh, and by the way, yakking on the floor next to her feet that are in flip-flops. So she's yakking all over her own feet. And then the spray off the ground is very clearly bouncing around onto the people around her. And then the lady in the seat in front of her, in a neck brace, clearly not having the best few weeks of her life, all of her stuff, her handbag, is on the ground under her seat, which, physics, is lower than where this lady's yakking, which means that not only is she just repeatedly yakking up White Claw, not bothering her at all. I really wish that Joy B would check down more quickly. But then, getting it all over her own feet and letting it dribble down on. And does she tap the lady on the shoulder and go, "Hey, ma'am, I'm really sorry. I just vomited on the ground and I don't want it to get all over your stuff. You might want to pick up your bag." Nope. She just goes right back to watching the game.
You know what it's like? It's like when you have a baby or someone like one or two who doesn't understand that you should try to get to the restroom. When they have to throw up, they just let it go. That's what it's like. I mean, there's no remorse, no nothing. It's just like, this needs to be out of me. Yeah, I'm trying to get out of there because I contort in a way that you might call a priest or a pastor in to try to take care of whatever's inside of me. So it's just I don't get her not moving, or maybe she's reached a point of age where she just don't care.
I just watched the end of the video for the first time. I haven't made it to the end yet. I just made it to the end for the first time. So at the end of the video, and I did not catch this the first time, at the end of the video, she gives up on leaning forward onto the floor, and it starts coming out, which means it 100% got onto the back of neck brace lady in front of her. But then, Zoe, she sits up straight, and it just falls out of her mouth all over her own shirt. She's just like, ugh, and it just... What is wrong with people?
Isn't that how I Am Legend started?
Never saw it.
Okay, never mind.
Never saw it. Tell you why? Because it's too different from the book. I couldn't get involved with it.
Is that what you're going with?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll come back to that on a not the show. Anyway, if you wondered why people are choosing to stay home and watch their games on TV, the answer is because I don't need some drunk lady yakking down the back of my jersey. That's it. That's the reason. This video has changed me as a person, and I don't appreciate it.
Surprised stuff like that didn't happen at that old people's concert you went to.
Texter said, this is quite the transition from moral victories. Well, I apparently got a little too philosophical last hour, so, back to yakking and chess cheating. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. Coming up next on the show, it's Fight Club with Lonzo, your home for all things combat sports in the upstate. That is next on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. No, Steven, I did the same thing yesterday where I got so caught up in the final hour that I booked myself and had to kill the segment. So Zoe's off the hook for faces. And Lonzo was having a day. After the man bun thing, I didn't want to be like, all right, Zoe's got to wear a man bun, and here's faces and heels. I didn't want to do that to him.
That's just an excuse for him forgetting, which I pointed,
not forget.
Which I pointed out Tuesday. He's going to forget.
I did not forget. I had it on the rundown. I just didn't do it.
It's on the rundown every Tuesday. If I don't remind you, you still forget. So that's not an excuse. Harley, the next break. A little late jumping in here because I was trying to type in the chapter of is lady who pukes at game the reason why people don't go to games anymore. Didn't quite get that up there yet. I'll have to do that here in a second. All right, lots of things to talk about in the Fight Club. Trying to decide, do I want to talk about all this other stuff or start out with the PWI top 500? And I would like to start there. No, we're not going through all 500. We're not going to do that. We're just going to go through the
Be a
top.
long segment.
We're just going to go through the top 10. I could just say their names. Still probably wouldn't make it through to because there'd be a lot of names and people that, even though we are wrestling fans, we would never have heard of before. All right, starting out at number. Do we want to go top 5 or we going to go top 10? There's a couple in the top 10 that you might approve or not approve of. I was listening yesterday about it being talked about and what the criteria is. The voting stops in June. So somebody since June may have got a big run. And they do this kayfabe and their criteria. They have to, how many matches they won, how many appearances they make, all that kind of stuff. So keep in mind if someone's on this list and you go, why are they on this list? Well, they were good up until June. And they may have fallen off by then. All right, number 10, I don't know how much you're into ROH, so I don't know if you know who Jonathan Grisham is. Although recently he's been in the news a bunch.
I know who he is because he's been in the news a bit. I looked him over yesterday. I don't have there's a bunch of guys that I'm just like, I don't know if it's about you to care.
All right, number 9 is, makes for an exciting segment, doesn't it? Number 9 is Big E. And one thing that does, it makes me sad. It really makes me sad knowing that we lost, for the time being, one of the most charismatic guys in all of wrestling as far as, and what a character. He is not just on screen, but in podcast form, a lot of things like that. And he broke his neck, and so he's unable to participate in wrestling right now. And I hate that because the reason why he's on this list is he won the championship, and he had a really good run there for a while until Vince decided, well, let's just take it off of him in a few seconds.
Yeah. So a couple of things. Number 1, I think the dude was wildly entertaining. Number 2, crazy talented. Number 3, from everything I understand, is just genuinely a good dude. Like every, there's always a guy that's like, oh, I like this guy, and you get people who goes, I met him and he sucked, and I've never seen that about this guy. I don't know what the future holds for him because a broken freaking neck is very frequently something that is career certainly impacting, if not ending. I hope he can come back healthy, but not at the expense of longevity. But I do feel bad. He was on a hot streak, and it was just a dumb accident.
Do you ever look at these lists and go, why? Why? Because a lot of people vote on this stuff as far as it goes. Number 8 is, if you know who this guy is, I would be shocked. El Hijo. Is the J silent? I'm just going to go.
I would be Hio, yeah.
Okay, El Hijo del Vikingo.
Nothing.
Okay.
Don't even know where he is.
Or as they say in the South, El Hijo del Vikingo. Yeah, I don't know who that is. I'm guessing Vikingo is Viking, though. It's just a guess there. All right, number 7 is Bryan Danielson.
Surprised he's not higher, to be honest. I think Mox goes ahead of him because I think Mox carried, so I'm assuming we're going to hear Mox's name here in a minute. But, the guy's widely considered one of the best in the world. I'm shocked he's not higher. I expect the rest of the list to be great.
All right, number 6 is Cody Rhodes. Again, you got to remember this is kayfabe for one thing. It's how much they were wrestling at the time from July to the following June.
And this is not surprising because when he made the jump from AEW to WWE, obviously because it was such a big coup for WWE, it was the first guy that jumped ship back the other direction. He immediately was getting pushed to the moon. And if it wasn't for the torn pec, I suspect if he hadn't already beaten Roman, we'd already be doing a WrestleMania build. He's going to be he's going to be white hot for a while because WWE wants to showcase that AEW's founder is now ours.
All right, top 5. Number 5, Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley, I've done a full turnaround. I was not thrilled when he came back, but he's gotten significantly better.
They allowed him to be his own guy a little bit. Once he actually does have a little bit of personality. My biggest knock on him was his lack of ability on the mic, and it probably wasn't him. It was just the powers that be thinking he had no use on the mic, and he's limited what he says, and I think it's better.
I will say this. I still think breaking up the Hurt business was one of the worst things they've done in a while. I thought that faction had everything they needed to be great, and he was the workhorse of it. That being said, since he's been done with that, he's been really, really good. He's not I doubt there's been very few shows that even the feud that he's in right now with The Miz isn't about him, right? And that's not a great look.
Yeah. All right. Number 4 is Hangman Adam Page, who had a really good run there for a little bit.
He did, and I'm not sure why it ended, to tell you the truth. I'm not sure why all of a sudden he went from guy in the picture to not in the picture.
All right. We've had this conversation before. I think part of it is he's kind of boring.
See, I know a lot of people feel that. I don't. I thought in fact, I've told you the wrestling to real life thing. I want some ratio of real life in my professional wrestling. And I thought Hangman kind of questioning himself and his decisions for a while there was a really compelling story. I thought it was played out exceptionally well from a guy that, I get, right? The millennial cowboy. I connect with that guy. And then he just went away, which I didn't get.
All right, number 3, the soon-to-be fired, arrested, sued, I don't know, CM Punk.
I cannot wait.
Because we know nothing. We know nothing.
I cannot wait for the 10 to 15 years from now when the self-destruction of CM Punk documentary comes out, because it's going to be great.
It won't be for him, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
I'm trying to think.
I hope I'm coherent at that moment because then I will enjoy it probably.
I'm trying to think if there's been another wrestler that went from one of my favorites to one of my least favorites as quickly as Punk. And I'm not talking in kayfabe. I'm talking in real life. A guy that I really appreciated their work to then a guy that I'm if I never see him again, I'm okay. I can't think of one. Because and it's just personally for me. I know a lot of people that felt that way about Hulk Hogan after some of his private life went public. Ultimate Warrior, Lex Luger. There's a lot of guys that have had that story. But for me personally, I don't know that there has ever been a dude that I was I liked and appreciate him to, if I never see them again in this company, I'm okay, like Punk. Literally in 15 minutes, in one press conference.
2 remaining, and then we're going to get to some other stuff. Number 2 is Kazuchika Okada.
Okada's good. Okada's one of the few New Japan guys that I know, and I've seen some of their stuff. And obviously I've been more familiar with New Japan in the last year and a half because of the connection with All Elite. But Okada has had some absolute bangers. There's a couple of old Okada Omega matches that you can just watch as a one-off match. You don't even have to watch a story. Just enjoy the match, and they're fantastic.
All right. And number one is the obvious choice. It's Roman Reigns. And I don't think that, at least for the last year, I don't think there's anybody who had a shot to be at number one other than Roman Reigns.
No, I don't think there could be.
Now, the
and
year,
by the
year
way-
before, when Kenny Omega had won all those championships, that was a totally different
Yeah.
story.
I'll say this. Like, I know there's a lot of people that are kind of tired of the Roman cheated and won again, right? Like, it's for a lot of people, it's almost entered the LOL Cena wins 5 moves of doom. Every match is boring because you know Cena's going to get beat up for 7 minutes and then drop the 5 moves and walk out of their champ line with replaced by Roman's going to get beat up a bunch and then one of the Usos is going to save him. But I'm not old yet. And as far as dude with the belt, I think Roman has been as good on the mic as dude with the belt as anybody has in a long time in that heel role. I think he's done an exceptional job. I kind of got worried that when the Shield split up, you know, Rollins has got ultimate charisma. Mox is just a maniac. I kind of thought Roman would be the one that gets left behind. And he's arguably doing better than all of the other two combined. Yeah, I don't know who else could have gone there.
And we know, according to some people, you know, real men don't talk about this, but, you know, a Roman Reigns shirt showed up on, I believe it was Get Up.
Yep, Orlovsky rocked one.
Rocking the Roman Reigns shirt. And let's see, James says on the stream, I'm over CM Punk. If he just disappeared, I'd be okay.
Yeah,
I was okay when he disappeared the first time.
Look,
so.
I was super stoked when he showed up on AEW because, again, I kind of always thought that Punk was the representation of those of us who appreciated the more indie style of shows where dudes were allowed to be themselves and have characters based on themselves and bring a little reality into it. And I thought, considering how much AEW allowed reality to bleed into their fights, that Punk was a perfect fit. And then I came to the conclusion that, no. You didn't want guys to be able to come and do what they wanted. You wanted you to be able to come in and do what you wanted without repercussion. Everything that Punk used to gripe about that had me on the Punk bandwagon, about how bad Hogan was and those guys. And I agreed with all of it. Now that is CM Punk. He is that guy now. And it was just the same to watch. Because he could have made himself into a legendary character at AEW, and they were clearly willing to bend the whole company over backwards for him, and it just wasn't enough for him.
If you get the chance, look up Kenny Omega and look at the video of him trying to work a cash register, which is definitely back in CM Punk's face. All right, last night we got down to the final. We know who is going to be going for that vacant championship. It's going to be 2 members of the Blackpool Combat Club going against each other, maybe. So it's going to be Mox versus Danielson, but MJF shows up again last night, coming at Mox, calling him a bunch of names and things. So this isn't fantasy booking. It is kind of. MJF's going to take Danielson's place, isn't he? By next week.
No, I think look.
You don't think so?
MJF
Because
has got a glorified Money in the Bank chip. Right?
But
that's what it is.
They hurt. Danielson got hurt last night.
Yeah.
Kayfabe,
maybe
but
he
still
does.
hurt.
Maybe he does. But I think, it's MJF. He's not going to just walk out there and be like,
And do a match. Yeah,
right,
you're
here's
right.
my one. Like, he's going to wait until somebody gets jacked up. And considering the whole point of these guys' stable is we are gratuitously violent for no reason other than our own enjoyment, you know they're going to beat the hell out of each other. And then he's just going to walk out there and cash it. And by the way, good. How much, like, even Roman's proved, a mega heel, and there is not a better one than MJF right now, with the belt, is gold.
Well, they've heard the people, and there hasn't been that much blood lately. I don't even think there was any blood at all last night. So unless I missed something.
Well, you got to keep in mind, AEW also kind of got told by, was it Time Warner or whoever?
I think it's Paramount.
Or whoever runs their shows, whoever's in charge of their stations, told them to chill a little bit. Like they were getting, you know what I mean?
They told him to back off the blood and back off the cursing.
Yeah.
So
listen, I got a friend from back home who's got a couple of kids. And when they were like 9, 10, well, I guess more towards the early teens, like 12, 13, she basically was like, look, I don't care if you cuss around the house. I really don't. but you can't do it outside of the house, right? Like, I don't care if you cuss in the house. And her kids would drop curse words. And she's like, I don't care, right? Like, it doesn't bother me. And I feel the same way. They're just words. They have no power unless you give them power. I don't care. She's like, but you can't do it outside
but they
the
do
house.
have power, because if they didn't, you could say them right now.
Only if you give them power, right? But that's the thing, is other people
It's not
give them
about
power.
it's not about you or me. It's about the powers that be who say you cannot say
I
those
understand
words.
that, because there are other people given power. I promise you, the overwhelming majority of adults, I'm not saying all, but the overwhelming majority of adults don't care about the S word anymore. It doesn't hold the power that it used to.
But they wouldn't say it in front of their mom or their boss.
Correct, because to those people it has power and it's out of respect. I don't cuss around Lonzo like regularly out of respect for Lonzo. But if I'm down the hallway and I'm talking with, Stoneman or whoever, then I don't care. That word has no power for me. But anyway, so she let her kids say cuss words around the house, but she's like, you can't say them outside of the house. Well, before I left, like a couple of years ago, the kids kind of got emboldened. And they started saying it outside of the house, and she had to rein them back in a little bit, right? She's like, no, all right, you're done. Now you can't say them around the house because you got so comfortable saying them that now you can't stop yourself from saying them outside the house. And that's what happened to AEW, I think. It went from somebody would say the S word once a show to there was an S word in every promo to there were multiple S words in every promo. And they're like, hey, we don't mind if you say it once in a while, but like scale it back a little bit. And that's effectively what happened. So I think now they're just kind of starting to test the waters a little bit about like, okay, we know where the max is. And we know we got to say it at least once or twice to give it the adult pop we want it to have. Where's the balance in the middle? And that's what they're searching for. And it's interesting to watch for me from a psychological fan's perspective.
And yes, you got me to roll my eyes.
I saw that.
Yeah. A couple more things really quick. First of all, I want to know why Rob doesn't like Dominic Mysterio. And I get why you've said in the past, because he's not as fast as his dad, and he's always going to be compared to that. But the heel turn, I think, has been great for him because he can be slow and methodical. He doesn't have to be compared to how fast his dad is, and he can just take his time and beat someone down.
Listen, it is very smart to book him in a way that you can cover up that he's not a good wrestler, right? A. And B, it's not like he just showed up. He's been around for a very long time, and he has the charisma of a wet Afghan blanket, right? Like, there's just none.
I've never felt a wet Afghan blanket.
I haven't either, but I imagine it's nasty and gross.
Is that like a blanket from Afghanistan or an actual Afghan?
Like my grandma wouldn't it?
Oh, okay. All right.
He has the charisma of a wet blanket, and you basically had to make this move so that you could cover up the fact that he can't talk and he can't wrestle. If Dominic Mysterio was Dominic Sanchez, he would not be anywhere near a professional wrestling show right now.
Mysterio's not his real name, so I mean,
You get my. The point is, if he wasn't racist, this is, what is it, nepotism at its finest. If he was anybody, and the thing, I don't mind having the kid involved with the storyline.
I also don't have a problem with nepotism. I mean, if the person who's taking advantage of it actually is capable of doing the job.
He isn't. He just isn't. He's not a good talker. He's not a good wrestler. He has nothing going for him other than he's Rey Mysterio's kid.
All right, last thing. If you had the choice between a WWE event tonight or AEW, where are you going?
Right now, honestly, AEW. WWE. Right now, WWE. I cannot understate how big the Triple H turnaround has been. By the way, the flashing of the NXT logo changing from the watercolor to black and gold on Tuesday. Zoe was watching me when I saw it for the first time. I popped. I'm like,
I had seen it, and Rob hadn't seen it yet. And I was like, you've got to watch the end, because I wanted to see if maybe I was reading the wrong thing into it. But when it went black and gold, yes, Rob nearly came out of his seat.
Yeah, it was great, because that was NXT at its premiere, at its top, at its best. The turnaround under Triple H cannot be understated how good it has been. And while this is happening, while WWE hits this revolution point that has suddenly made it better, right? AEW is now going through the biggest adversity that they have faced since they founded the company. And don't get me wrong, I think AEW is great in that they have a lot of young talent who's finally getting their chance, and a lot of them are taking advantage
I think
of that.
they'll survive. The question is, have they peaked? That's the concern.
I don't think they peaked. I think you're missing 4 or 5 of your biggest names. I think the focus right now is on let's get out of these woods, right? Let's get out of this crap right here, and when they come back, they're going to be fine. It's just if either Vince was still around, AEW would be better off, or if AEW didn't have all this backstage drama crap going on, they'd be fine. But both of those things combined is a big disaster point for AEW, but they will be fine once they get out of the woods. They will. There's too much money behind them not to be. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap this bad boy up. Rod Lonzo and you, the Rob Brown Show's on the Fan Upstate. Trey said, don't you mean Dominic Guerrero? The old Dominic on a pole match.
No, so you didn't watch the match
Which one?
at all? The one with between him and Edge?
Yeah, you watched me watch it.
I was going to say he was doing Guerrero the whole
Yeah, I know.
time. You knew that was coming when he started growing the mullet.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like so one thing that's kind of not bugged me, but like it feels to me like every Latino wrestler is doing the Eddie Guerrero stuff now, which is fine. I mean, the guy was an absolute legend and probably one of the most important Latino wrestlers in the history of wrestling, and I respect that. But like, it feels like even at AEW, they've got like every Latino wrestler does the Three Amigos all the time.
And the shimmy.
And the shimmy. I mean, if you're gonna, is it really a frog splash if you don't shimmy?
I would say
Unless you're RVD, no.
or Street Profits. He doesn't have to because he gets such height that no one else can
it's
get.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
The Usos is pretty good too.
Theirs look more like they would hurt more because it looks more like dead weight coming through the air, and then being thicker too.
Have you seen the video of the Chick-fil-A dude taking down the carjacker?
No.
Okay.
This feature is sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech. It's summertime. Just like reapplying sunscreen helps continue protection against the sun, a booster shot can help enhance protection against COVID-19 after a primary series vaccination. Schedule an appointment when eligible.
How do you make the most of your land? If you ask the Wrens, who run with us on a John Deere mower, they tell you.
I mow first, then I do all the trimming.
But the Hubbards, who work behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor, would say.
If something you want, just go out there and try it.
Then there's the Mosers, who they mention from the seat of their John Deere Gator UTV.
Keep y'all working out, buddy.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. Learn how to make the most of yours. Deere.com. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Kelly Blue Book is the one-stop shop for pricing, fixing, selling, and instant cash offer. Instant cash offer is exactly what it sounds like. An official offer to buy or trade your car. Just enter your VIN or license.
There's a video making the rounds on social media where a dude was trying to carjack a lady at a Chick-fil-A. And the Chick-fil-A drive-thru worker runs over and tackles the crap out of the guy and then puts him in a really, really solid triangle choke and just holds him. And it happened in Fort Walton. It happened in my old hometown. Actually, you know what we haven't done in a while? We haven't done a fight breakdown.
Yeah, we don't have time now.
I might do it when the show's over. I can find the video.
This afternoon is
Yeah, I
looking
found it.
mostly sunny with a high of 90.
Brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Your neighborhood Ashley store has all the styles, selection, and value you'll need to invite fall in this season. Find furniture you'll love.
All right, time for Twitter trending topics where there's a couple things trending, but before we get to that, I just want to say that you need to not tune in tomorrow at 9 a.m.
You definitely not only need to, but if you haven't done it before, join the Facebook stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, on either of our Twitter pages or on YouTube by searching and subscribing to The Rob Brown Show, because Zoe will be in the man bun tomorrow. One way or the other. May not be the best, may be the best. We don't know yet. One way or the other, he will be in the man bun
Oh,
tomorrow.
I hope it's a horrible man bun because it's a man bun. So how can it be anything other than horrible?
I'm telling you, I can't wait till halfway through the show and Zoe's like, you know what? This is really convenient.
Yeah, that is not
Keeps
going
the
to
hair
happen.
out of my face.
Not going to happen.
Keeps it up off my shoulders. The back of my neck is nice and cool. You know?
What do I care about that? Put your hair up, your neck gets red. I don't want to fit in around here. Anyway, so don't tune in tomorrow. Don't listen to him.
But do download the Views from Mint Street podcast, available where major podcasts are found: Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, or Google Play, or free on the Odyssey app. Lonzo and I talk all things Carolina Panthers. The Views from Mint Street podcast available now.
You know, something else that's not trending, but it should be. If you want to listen to the Chargers and the Chiefs play tonight, you can listen right here on the Fan Upstate starting at 8 p.m. You know what else you can do? You can stream it. So
Free on the Odyssey app
that's right. So
or at thefanupstate.com.
So the only thing we have time for that's trending is Danhausen.
Dude is so funny. Like,
Yeah,
dude
but can
is-
he wrestle?
We're going to find Well, yeah, he wrestled on...
He got a victory in dark, but
Yeah.
it was a shock. But he's going to help find that jester though, and they're going to take that guy out.
Danhausen is pleased. Can't wait. Tonight, Texter said, love the show, but if you're only talking about wrestling, it's not really a fight. Well, we broke down UFC a lot last week because we had the press conference. We had a
changed main event. We talked Nate
We,
Diaz.
we also talked boxing.
Yeah, we talked
it's
a lot of boxing.
Here's the problem: UFC needs to have better cards, not change the card all the way around because people don't make weight.
Yeah, I mean, it's not their fault, but at the same time, that was rough. You went from a highlight fight to, all right. So anyway, we'll do some because we got major boxing matches coming up in the next couple of months. There's going to be plenty of boxing. All right, kids, that's it. Jim Rum's got you up next in the jungle. Mark Ryan's got you live 37 offsides. Then, of course, live coverage of Chargers Chiefs tonight. Listen to that play-by-play right here on the Fan Upstate. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. We're back tomorrow to do it all over again on a Friday edition of the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. All right. For those of you on the stream, because I want to, let's do a fight breakdown. We haven't done one in a while. So this is in a Chick-fil-A parking lot in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, which you may recognize as the place that I'm from. This is my hometown Chick-fil-A. I've eaten at this Chick-fil-A 1,000 times in my lifetime, all right? So the background setup is this. The guy that's on the ground in this video to start. In fact, I'll shift you guys to full screen so we can give you the biggest opportunity possible here. The guy that is on the ground in this video in the gray shirt is attempting to carjack that Jeep. That Jeep is being driven by a woman who has a baby with her. So he ran up and was trying to wrestle the keys and steal this Jeep away from the woman and her baby. The guy working the Chick-fil-A drive-thru, who obviously is in the black hat, red shirt, black pants, saw what was happening, recognized what was happening, and was like, yeah, no, not going to let that happen, right? He runs over, and the video doesn't start until after. I have a friend who was there when this happened, all right? I had an acquaintance who was there when it happened, a guy I used to work with. So the guy runs over, basically form tackles the carjacker, right? He goes head across his shoulders, form tackles him, and then we get to this point, takes the guy down, and now he's got him on his back. So it starts with him. He's got the control, the right arm wrapped around the neck. The problem is the left hand of the carjacker is free, which makes it a threat. So the Chick-fil-A driver gets flipped around, but then you see he goes immediately to that side headlock, right? Like as soon as the carjacker flips him over, I thought he was in trouble here because the carjacker's now got the ability to go into a full mount. He's got the ability to control the arms of the Chick-fil-A. I'm like, oh, Chick-fil-A guy is in trouble here. But he gains leverage. The carjacker then tries to get back. He tries to stand up backwards. As soon as the Chick-fil-A guy recognizes that the momentum is going backwards, he immediately, look how quick he gets to his feet, right? Like that's a skill. Immediately gets to his feet, recognizes the carjacker is still on his knees, which means he's vulnerable at this spot. If this guy was going Muay Thai, when he gets here, he's driving the knee into the nose. But he recognizes that he's too close to the carjacker. So he wraps the left arm around the back of the head and up under the neck of the carjacker. Now he's in control. This guy can't go anywhere, right? He's got the head locked up. So what does he do? Just drives him backwards. So he's got zero leverage. Now the guy can't stand up because all of his body weight is out over his butt. There's nowhere to go. He can't move forward. Drives him backwards, takes him back down, but he never lets go of the head, right? And that's slick. So he keeps onto that side headlock. The guy is now on his back. There's nothing that can be done for the carjacker, and he basically is forced to submit. Now all the other Chick-fil-A folks and customers have showed up. Carjacker is toast at this point. This was outstanding form from Chick-fil-A guy. Once he recognizes the carjacker has no leverage, goes straight to the headlock and then just maintains body control the rest of the way through.
So the question is this a kid who is wrestles in high school, or is this a UFC kind of guy?
I don't know. They just found. I mean, they just
Because the leverage denotes some sort of wrestling skill.
Oh, this guy knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know why. I will tell you that both Fort Walton Beach High School and Choctawhatchee High School, which is the school I went to, is Choctaw. The Fort Walton was our rival, and I'm assuming this kid probably went to one of those two schools. Both have really respectable wrestling programs. So there's a chance this guy came through. If this was just natural instinct from this guy, if this guy has no wrestling background and that was instinct, if I am the wrestling coach at either one of those two schools, I'm on the phone with this kid's parents today. I'm like, hey, I want him at wrestling practice tomorrow.
Or your WWE offering NIL money.
Oh yeah.
Or UFC for that matter.
I mean, look at it. So as soon as he stands up, boom, got him in the choke, drive him backwards, put him on his back. There's nothing for him to do. Just maintain control at this point. The guy's right arm is free, but there's no leverage because his head's locked, so he can't turn his shoulder to get any impact with a blow with the right arm. That's just magnificent work. Magnificent work. James said CM Punk versus Chick-fil-A guy, book it. Oh man.
That might be the only place you see CM Punk wrestling going forward. So.
All right, guys.